right. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Renatus InvestEdge. My name is Jay Stark. I am thrilled to welcome you to our call today. We have an exciting opportunity to hear from a couple of investors that are absolutely killing it in today's market. So before we get there though, what I want to do is turn the time over to the founder and CEO of Renatus, an individual that I've had the pleasure of working for more than 14 years now. And I gotta just tell you, if you've never met him before, you're going to have an opportunity right now to hear from the most authentic individual I have ever met, an individual who truly puts the considerations of every single individual in the balance as he's weighing out every single decision that he makes. He is focused on not just providing a toolbox that allows people to be empowered and create more success than they've ever dreamed possible, but he is focused on enabling results like people have never known before in their lives. And you're going to hear about that in just a few minutes. But join me in welcoming out to the call the founder, the CEO of Renatus, Mr. Bob Snyder.
Man, I got to tell you, Jay always makes me feel so good about myself that, it's just nice to have this association. Heavens, it's been over 14 years now. And I couldn't do this without him. I'm so thrilled and excited to be able to, shoulder up every single day and make things happen for Renatus and for our community. So thank you, Jay. Thanks for the kind words. I could say all the same things about you. And I'm excited to be here with you today. Now listen, as we get the Renatus InvestEdge cranking up, I just want to remind everybody, listen, if you're looking for notifications of when the next Renatus InvestEdge is, then just subscribe. Subscribe, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up. That way we can stay in touch with you to notify you when we have the next episode coming up so that you can be at the ready to receive it and benefit from all the amazing content that we share when it comes to understanding the wonderful world of real estate investing. Now, having said that, I am so honored to be able to introduce you to a couple of fantastic community members inside of Renatus. This is a couple that, they haven't been with us that long, but in that short period of time, they have flat lit it up and they're doing deals. They're making great things happen. We wanted to invite them into the studio so you could get to know them. They could talk about their strategies and some of the things they're doing. That's Mary and Seta Tuimoala, and we're thrilled to be able to have them in studio. So Mary, Seta, so good to see you. Great to have you with us. And we're excited to hear a little bit of your story. That's where we like to start. Give us a little background on yourselves. Where were you before you found Renatus? What led you here, and what's been the results since you got involved?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. My name is Seta. I grew up in American Samoa. We didn't have much before Renatus. We were searching. We were looking. We wanted to invest in real estate, and we found Renatus, and then here we are.
How long ago was that?
It's about a year and a half now. So
a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yep.
And so, where were you looking before you found Renatus? What other things were you looking into?
I think it was me that actually initially found Renatus. Seta was starting a business, mm-hmm. and we wanted to figure out what to do with those, some of those funds that we got from our business, and we wanted to use it wisely. So we were looking for ways to invest our money and get into real estate. We wanted to get into real estate. And so I stumbled upon someone that was Meili, actually. It was a Facebook group, and I was asking questions of ways to help me leverage our property, our current home that we were living in, and we didn't know where to turn to. So finally, Meili brought us to a meeting, and we kind of just took off from there. And that was about a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. So talk to us about the last year and a half on your journey. How long did it take you to dig into the education, and then how long did it take you to do your first deal?
Okay, so I actually had been doing the education a lot from us because I initially joined for the both of us. And we pretty much got into our first deal within a couple months.
Yeah.
After joining Renatus, and we wanted to find a flip, because that was going to help Seta's business. And so we ended up coming to regionals, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped us. Jason Andres was really helpful. Whitney, I think, she was one of the speakers there, and she talked about fix and flips, and her and Jason back and forth. And I watched some of the education, and that kind of helped us take off with our first flip.
Okay, so I love this story, and what I've got to ask, because listen, I've told people before, I was drug kicking and screaming into real estate by my wife. This was not something that I wanted to do. Honestly, this was decades ago, but it was decades ago, and this is exactly what happened to me. My wife had some perspective that I didn't have. She was raised in a home where her parents built their entire retirement around real estate. So they would buy a property, then they would fix it up and paint it, and then they'd put tenants in it, they'd hang on to it, and then over time they'd go, okay, well, maybe we could sell this and trade up to something else, or maybe take the equity and go buy 2 properties. They did that for their entire working life so that they could live very comfortably in retirement. My wife Holly was able to witness that and participate, in that, as she was then with her siblings demanded to show up to paint and clean and some of the other things. I didn't have that experience. I didn't know anything about real estate. I mean, my parents never even bought their first home until I was, I think, junior. I was a junior in high school. Sophomore in high school, before I was ever actually in a home that we owned. We rented my entire life. So I didn't even understand home ownership, let alone real estate investing. So when I got married and Holly kind of brought me into that, it came with a little fear and trepidation. Now, I've got to ask, you said that you signed up for the both of you. Seta, what? Did you just let her take the lead on this deal, or were you sitting back going, I'm just waiting to say I told you so?
Yeah. So I would say a lot of our the courage comes from my wife when it comes to investing and stuff. And when she mentioned that we're going to invest in Renatus, I was already running my business, and I said, hey, I don't have time for this. You go ahead and do it, and then come back around when whatever's going to happen, what's going to happen after that. But I mean, my wife made it work, and now we play to our strength and our weaknesses, and that's kind of how we're making it work right now. And so
I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I really do. I applaud and congratulate you on that too. So you said that you got your first deal inside of 2 months.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that deal.
So it was a home in Rose Park. And it's actually where I grew up, and I was excited to get into it. I was running numbers.
Like the exact home where you grew up?
No.
Okay.
But it was in the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
It was around the neighborhood, and I knew if things went wrong, I could potentially find someone within our community anyways to possibly buy it off from us.
Right.
So yes, things went okay. There were some challenges that we had, of course, being our first flip, and some of the challenges were, keeping under budget, working with contractors and getting it done in time. So thankfully, we did finish it in time. We went over budget, but we found a buyer right away. So, and that was just someone within our family, and we were able to get them to purchase the flip from us.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, did it work out for you?
It did.
You say you bought it, you fixed it up, you went a little over budget, and then you sold it. I mean, so were you smiling at the closing table?
Yeah,
or?
We sure.
We did.
He was happy, because it didn't go south.
It ended up working out, but we were nervous on that first deal, but yeah.
Well, you know what? That's pretty common for everybody.
Yes,
everybody's first deal is the hardest deal that they'll ever do.
Yes, it is.
But the fact is, I mean, you leaned into it and you made it happen. I think that's awesome. You taught everybody, listening in. That's another valuable lesson, which is you invest in the areas you're familiar with. I like to tell people, man, just draw a little circle on a map around your existing home that about a 30-mile radius, and call that your investing circle, because you don't want to go outside of that because you need something that's familiar to you so you feel comfortable about it.
Can I point out something as well that you said, which I find just really, really helpful, and that is that you knew you had a community of support. You knew that, oh yeah, if this thing all goes sideways, I've got somebody else that we can tap into that can help us out here. And I think that that's so valuable that inside of Renatus you found that community. Now, you said that you got into this deal 16 months ago. How long did it take you to complete the deal, like all the way to the closing table?
3 months, and we sold it by the fourth month.
By the fourth month. And how have things gone since then?
Pretty good. So just kind of tied it in with my husband as well, Seta here. We kind of found some ways that has helped us tremendously, finding new flips. And as many people know, Seta loves social media, and we have found pretty much the rest of our deals that we've been almost 10 flips, more flips on top of this one, just by Seta's his strength, which is marketing and social media. So
okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that he's strong on social media. What are you doing, and what have been the results?
Yeah, so most of the time, before we decided to merge together, I was marketing for my business and selling for my business, and then we both came across the importance of creating content, but I was confident with it, and so like I started posting content for my business, and then when we learned that this can benefit the both of us to merge our business together, that's when I started coming over and said, hey, let me help market, because sometimes we have good stuff going on. I mean, we have great stuff going on, but if we can't market that, no one is going to know what we're doing. And so that's kind of the strength I brought into the table, and then we started putting it together, and it just took off from there.
Man, that is a beautiful thing too. What have you learned about social media that's helped you to be so successful?
This is also taught in Renatus as well too. It's just being able to tell your story and being able to be to connect to people. And for me, that's just something I feel like that I was born with. It's just being able to connect with people and be able to talk to people and just be able to tell my story and be able to resonate with them. And I started using that, and the cool thing is these are real, genuine life stories that I did go through, and as I start just share those personal stories, people just wanted to
find more,
find out. Listen, man, you've got a powerful story. That's one of the things that works, but it also doesn't hurt that you're so stinking likable. I mean, that's a benefit in and of itself. But listen, what was it like? I mean, you came from the islands. To the United States. When you came from the islands, what did you have when you started out? I mean, did you bring, a lot of wealth and a lot of knowledge with you, or did you start from scratch?
No, we started from scratch. Like I told this story at Nationals. I came out here to join the military. That was the path to success back in the islands. I wasn't good at taking tests, and then that didn't work out, and so I moved from homes to homes, and then we moved to Utah, met my wife, and then we wanted to get into real estate, and we took a lot of other education. We invested in a lot of education until we found Renatus and the education, and then here we are.
Right on. Okay, so I'm going to dig deep on this, and this is going to sound like I'm looking for a shameless plug, and I absolutely am. But what was the difference between the other programs you bought and getting involved with Renatus?
Me personally, to be able to have local mentors, and then to have a community of people that you can actually meet them in person and be able to talk to them in person, and be able to go to actual cities and say, hey, you flipped here or you've invested here in Utah. To me, that was the biggest thing. The other ones were like, they said they can invest in Utah, but other states are not the same as Utah.
Right. So, kind of helps to have that nationwide community to make things happen. That's outstanding. So Mary, I mean, because you're the real estate brains behind this whole operation, right? You did the first one, you got it taken care of. That took you 4 months, start to finish. Mm-hmm. But you've done 10 since then. You've only been involved with this 18 months, so I'm doing the math on how long it takes you each deal. So did you find that you were doing multiple deals at once?
I did. And to be honest, it wasn't until Mitch and Maley created the first flip challenge. Uh-huh. And that really taught me how to scale.
Yeah.
I to be honest, I couldn't go beyond 1 or 2 flips. Uh-huh. But since I joined the challenge, I actually joined the very first one, and that helped me to find more money,
right?
Create more partnerships, create more deals, and not have to tell mm-hmm. homeowners, I'm sorry, I don't have enough money to take this on. And so Mitch and Maley, they've been really great at helping us. And so the first flip challenge and getting with groups of people that wanted to invest and to flip really helped create more deals for us and fund the deals. So
well, you know what, and we've got to let everybody know too. I mean, Mitch and Maley Nelson are fantastic leaders inside of the Renatus community. They've done an excellent job. But one of the things that they stepped out to do was to help lead their local community as they created this first flip challenge that you're talking about.
Yes.
So obviously there's a lot of components to it. We're not going to get into all the details there, but you obviously have become a product of the product.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have, and I'm thrilled for that. What are some of the challenges that you dealt with flipping homes? What are some of the obstacles and the setbacks that you had to deal with and overcome?
I think working with contractors. Mm-hmm. I think Seta kind of stepped in a lot to kind of help out with that. There's also something that helped me a lot through the education was your negotiation video education. So you mentioned in there to use this. Is that the best you can do?
Those are the 7 best words in negotiation. Is that the best you can do?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so, it sounds funny, but it really did help me because Seta was busy, working his business. And mm-hmm. here I am, a female, working with contractors and, trying my best to stay under budget and not being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I've used that several times with contractors.
Yeah.
And instead of fighting with them over price, when I've used that phrase and that sentence, that question, it has helped quite a bit in some of some of
right
the deals.
On.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, teaching the negotiations course for me is really kind of I've got a love affair with it because I love what it teaches people so that you can just communicate. And of course, one of the best things you can do in a negotiation is build a relationship of trust with the individual that is sitting across the table from you, so that you're no longer sitting across the table, but you actually start, migrating towards one another so you can work in a cooperative fashion. It sounds to me like you've gotten that, kind of dialed in.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to find good contractors?
Probably after our first one. We kind of spotted out who we liked. Well, he did. He was kind of the one that kind of took charge of this is who I trust. And so he kind of allowed that contractor to work with us on the rest of our work because he now trusts this contractor working with me, and that kind of helped.
Yeah.
But there was one more thing I wanted to mention that really helped me in the education as well. When you get into your first or, other deals, sometimes you don't want to upfront and spend the money on a lot of these inspections. I've learned through the education that doing a really good inspection and a due diligence, when you're under contract with homeowners, really does help them understand.
You sound like you're speaking from experience.
Okay. Yes,
right.
yes. Because, my first deal, I didn't quite do all the inspections that I should have done because I didn't want to spend the money.
Right.
And I didn't want to spend more than $400, whatever that amount is. But I have learned going throughout the rest of my deals that an inspection has also teaches the homeowner what the value really is of their home. So it has helped a lot. And I've learned that through the education.
Well, that's fantastic. So can you think of an example where after you learned the value of a home inspection and getting that big old list and being able to readjust some of the expectation of the homeowner, did it make you money? Did it save you money? Can you think of some instances there?
Yeah, it actually kind of saved us some money because we went into another deal. It was actually a duplex, and I've never done a sewer line scope, a sewer line inspection. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it in my other deals, but I did it on this particular. This is probably like our third project that we were working on, and I ended up finding out that there were some issues with the sewer line, and so because of that, we kind of made it clear to the homeowner that, hey, there are some issues that we are going to have to deal with, and so that kind of helped them realize that too, and kind of saved us some money in our pockets for renovations.
That's awesome. I've done that before as well. And then you find out, hey, you reveal to the homeowner, these are some of the issues that we've just discovered. These are our estimates on what repairs are going to look like. Let's talk about this. Then it gives you another negotiation point where you can say, hey, something's got to give here.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what else it does for you too, because I'm thinking of a specific incident where my wife and I were under contract on a home, and we went in and scoped the sewer line of the street. That's just kind of standard operating procedure anymore. And there was a big old belly, in that darn thing, and some blockage. And we thought, have you not had sewer backup problems? Well, no, we haven't had any of that, So we educated them about it and said, listen, this is what it's going to cost. We need to make some adjustments on the price. They were unwilling to do it. We walked away from the deal so that we could just move on to other things. And we're so grateful that we did, because it wasn't long after that home actually caught fire and burned to the ground.
Oh,
but wait, that wasn't the first time.
No, it wasn't the first time.
Sorry. I am just curious. You guys just pointed out right as we were getting started, you have your baby here with you, and you guys have a couple of kids now. How do you balance that work-life investing balance? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, I mean, for me, is because with our weakness and strengths, and so with my wife, she's basically the back end of things. So I do all the findings, and then she negotiates. And she does all the analyzing of the deals, and that allows her to be home more with our kids, and I'm the one doing all the runarounds, the checkups, the check on the contractors, and trying to that's basically how we balance our life, and basically to work a system together that we're able to handle everything all on our own.
It's fantastic. And you're doing the social media posts. I wanted to follow up on that because I wanted to just ask you, did you pick one platform, or did you just dive into all of them? Do you post to TikTok and Instagram and Facebook? Are you doing YouTube shorts? What are you doing?
So I post to all of them. I tell people, like, every platform works regardless of views, watches, or any of that. So I post on TikTok first, and that's a whole different audience.
Right.
But then Instagram, and then it converts over to Facebook, and then YouTube Shorts, and so mostly that's where we mostly post.
So you do it all. How has that kind of exposure been able to bring you deals or lenders?
One of the biggest thing we've learned is that attention is attention, and as long as these are free platforms, and so like if you're already creating one, you might as well just post them to post them everywhere, and even if it's not, and even if it's not for someone that, even if it doesn't go to someone to give you any leads, it still resonates with other people, and then you can become just an inspiration to other people, just to grow and to learn and to just to know what you're doing. And
I love that, man. I think that's fantastic. I really do. It's creating awareness for you and for your brand. And I tell new investors all the time, in the very beginning, you're going to go out there and you're going to make a lot of offers, and you're going to have to do a lot of extra work to find the deals. But as you get better and as your reputation grows, the deals will find you. Are you starting to discover that now?
Yes, definitely. That's when I first shared our first deal, and one thing my wife forgot to mention, and that's something we learned in the community, is that don't close a deal unless you when you're negotiating a deal, you have to have it on there that you will sign the deal after inspection. So don't do anything before that. And one of them was we didn't inspect the roof, and so and that was one of the issue we ran into, and we're like, oh shoot, we didn't account for $10,000 repairs, and luckily that's when I came in with and used my contractors to cover that part. I didn't do roofing at the time, but we were able to handle that at the time, and that was the biggest lesson we took from there. And then on all our deals now, we just make sure that we get inspection done, and if someone doesn't want inspection done, then we just walk away from that deal. And
it's a bit of a red flag, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Jay, I know you're kind of watching the comment section, a few things there. What
I am.
questions
People are really excited about having you guys on the InvestEdge. You've got a lot of fans, I can tell, which is fun. And it's fun to see some of the comments that are coming through. We haven't had any questions yet, so if you guys have questions for Mary and Seta, make sure that you get them into the YouTube comments right now, and we'll be able to ask them live as we have them in studio with us right now. I am kind of curious, you said you're now 11 deals in, and you've made some money, I'm assuming. How much of your own money are you using to invest with?
So we did use some of our money on our first deal. I do feel like we had to prove to people to invest with us later on in our other deals, and we did pull a HELOC on our home to run our first deal, and thankfully that ended up working out really well, and we paid it back, and now we're just running our own deals. And I try not to I try to use other people's money now going forth. I do use other people's money. I don't use our own anymore, which is nice. And so we just, every deal now is we have investors, and investors do come to us with money, and we've had the same people sometimes come back again, which is great, and continue investing with us. And so,
it's obvious that you guys are now confident in what you're doing. It just shows the way that you're talking about everything. I'm curious, before you found Renatus, how confident were you that you could actually get in and be successful in a real estate transaction?
I think we were really scared, which is why I feel like that's one of the benefits of coming into a community with an education and others who understand, because you're not having to pull and say, for example, we're not having to go to our family or people outside of the community and try to really beg them for money, I promise this will work. People in the community already understand and have a level of experience, some of them as well, and it's been great to just come in and just show people numbers and deals, and not have to spend so much time explaining. And for example, we came to Nationals, and we had two challenges that we were dealing with, and one was we had a property we weren't sure if we wanted to take it on because we didn't have the funds for it, and the second was we had another property that somebody wanted to sell to us, but we weren't sure what to do with it. And so two of those challenges we found answers at Nationals, and one of them was we found the money. We came and found the money at Nationals. A lovely couple, Sam and Brian, they have an IRA, and the very next Monday they gave us the check, and we closed and started that flip, and it's done now and on the market. So
that's great.
And the second was we had an issue with one of an apartment that we are under contract with right now, and we weren't sure what to do with it, and we felt like Bill kind of answered that question for us at Nationals, and
yeah.
so we were stalking Bill that night and trying to find him so we can talk and ask more questions, and he was very helpful. So yes.
By stalking, they mean just looking out for it.
Yeah.
So in your estimation, now being with Renatus for 18 months, the upfront cost of getting involved with Renatus is not, it can be significant. From your perspective, is it worth it?
Of course. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, looking at the investment that my wife did, it's like to me it is worth it. The confidence that we have now, and I do have a challenge that's going on right now on social media to fix and flip 100 homes in 2025, and I truly believe that it's possible. Like I 100% believe that that's possible because of the new knowledge and the education that we get to learn now and be able to use them in real time.
I'm so excited for you. I just got to ask you this question. I mean, where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
Geez, I don't know, because to be honest, I didn't expect for us to do this many deals before Renatus. And so I feel like we hope in 5 years that we have goals of investing in more development projects.
Yeah.
And so I think what I see is creating, my husband runs a construction business, and so what I really want to see is that grow. And I felt like also through real estate, that is the answer and key to growing that business for us and our future.
Mainly to have everything so fully systemized to the point that we get to just sit back and to hopefully continue to mentor more people to come and get educated into this while our service-based business run on its own and our investment just continues to grow on its own. For us, that's our 5-year goal.
You know what? I love to hear that, and I think you guys have got such a solid plan. 100 years ago, Andrew Carnegie, who was the wealthiest individual on the planet at that time, he made statements about how the majority of the wealthy, either made their money or kept their money in real estate. Today, that's still true with a little bit of a caveat, and that is they hold their wealth in real estate. Now, there's a lot of money to be made in real estate, but most of the folks that go out there and crank it up, they made it in traditional business. So in other words, they built their business, they had an excess of cash flow, and they wanted a safe place to put it, which is real estate. Kind of sounds to me like, you just stumbled into that strategy, and now that's what's helping you to fuel the fire.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I love about real estate that I learned even more with coming into Renatus is, for example, we're on a contract with a family that is selling their family triplex to us, and it's paid off and everything, but the beauty of it is the parents passed away, but they're leaving an asset behind for the children. And it's 5 siblings, and what we're paying for it is going to be split amongst the siblings, right? And I feel like that's just an amazing, like kind of like a life insurance almost for your children. However, they could have chose to cash flow on it every month, and it's kind of one of those thoughts that you either have $3,000 a month monthly, or you can get $600,000 right away. And they chose to sell it to get $600,000. And so I think that's amazing, and I love that what we're purchasing from this family, I was able to learn from it that's exactly what I want for my own children.
There you go.
So
that's outstanding. That's fantastic.
That is awesome. You guys are now building generational wealth, which is incredible. And I love the goal that you talked about of getting involved with 100 projects this year. Would you 2 years ago have believed that you would be where you are today?
Not even close. Not at all. Like, if you ask us this question
2 years ago,
2 years ago, we'll probably say no, we didn't. And then again, for me, for someone from the island coming out here just trying to survive, to now look at real estate as a, and just to look at generational wealth and be able to now have a secured a future.
Yeah,
it's mind blowing.
Hey, for a lot of the folks that are sitting out there and they're watching this, they're going, "Man, real estate investing, that just seems scary to me." What words of advice can you give them?
I think for me, I really would advise people to just educate yourself. Find someone you trust. Within the community, out of the community, I don't care who it is. Just find someone that you trust that is doing real estate deals. I would not take advice or go to someone that is not doing real estate deals. And so
that reminds me of the advice you give all the time.
That's right.
Never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with.
Exactly.
And so I think for me, I came into Renatus hoping to achieve, making and getting deals. And I came and saw a few people doing that. And so that really helped me to trust what I was investing in. And I love what we do in the community. I love what we're being educated with and who's educating us. And I think those are really important. Those conferences helped me a lot to gain that trust. And I feel like a lot of these people, you just need to show up. If you hear rumors or anything from other people, ignore it and show up and find out for yourself.
Yeah, for me, education is key, knowledge is key, but then applied knowledge is the biggest, the biggest thing that help us too. And I try to continue to invest more, because for me, results speaks louder than anything that we talk about. And if you invest in our education and also to be part of a community, so that way they can keep you accountable, because that's the biggest thing for us, is the accountability that the community gives us almost every single day, so we can stay on top of everything and to know what's going on and to stay on top of it. That would be my biggest advice to anyone getting into real estate.
That's excellent. Okay, you guys have really mastered, this fix and flip thing. You're moving hot and heavy in that direction. When do you make the transition into buying properties and starting to develop cash flow from tenants?
So I think we did buy a duplex after a couple of flips.
Okay.
And so there was another, I apologize, I don't remember his name, but one of the education was, I want to say it was, I picture a cowboy.
Chris.
Oh, Chris Wilson.
Okay.
Cowboy Chris.
Cowboy Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just remember that. But he spoke about duplexes side by side, that he likes that. And I wasn't seeking out duplexes at the time. However, I did stumble upon a duplex that was for sale. And, I just remember him talking about side-by-side duplexes are great cash flow, and you don't have much of an overhead for that. And so we stumbled upon a duplex and we purchased it after a couple flips, and it's a great cash flowing rental right now, a long-term one. And even with a almost 9% interest rate, we were able to cash flow on it surprisingly, and almost like $800 a month that we cash flow on this duplex. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, and they're long term.
Yeah, that's fantastic. When you start to take a look at how that money multiplies and what you can do with it, you're going to fall in love with cash flow.
Yes.
That's the true way to freedom, because then you get enough of that coming in that overcomes any of the bills and expenses you've got. You have options. You get total financial flexibility at that point in time. So good for you, man. That's outstanding.
I am kind of curious. If you talk to somebody who's brand new with Renatus, which class would you tell them to start with?
Good question.
I think for us, it really helped us the self-directing IRA, because Seta had a previous job that he left, and he had an IRA sitting, And of course, I know more about it than he does.
He's like, sounds familiar.
But that helped us to know and gather funds to prepare us for deals and making moves.
I think that's outstanding.
Gotcha. I'm so inspired by what you guys are creating, and we've got so many. I mean, let me just read for you a couple of the comments that are on here, right? You guys rock. That's from Michael. Jeremy says there will be a line item for full inspections from this point going forward, talking about the inspections.
Yes.
Maylee's on here. The best feeling in the world is when you make your goal list obsolete. It's time to create new goals. I'm not sure who this is. Utah County and beyond. Unlock home ownership. Great discussion. Very informative. Go get it, Seta and Mary. Seta, I know the very first time that I met you, I was so inspired. I literally called Bob and I said, Bob, you got to watch out for this guy.
He did.
He's
He
up and
absolutely
coming.
did. He said his enthusiasm just absolutely bubbles over. It's infectious, and I
Yeah.
found that to be true. So that's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
it's so awesome to see you guys now just killing it and loving it. How do you stay inspired when things start to go sideways? Because I'm with every single opportunity, every investment, there's always that room for something just went wrong, right? How do you guys stay focused? How do you stay inspired?
For me, I as the man of the house, I always talk to my wife about just staying positive regardless of what's going on, and it also helps because we talk about this as you become an inspiration to others. There's nothing in the world you have to stay positive because you are an example now to so many people, and just to be there for and because we're doing this together, I would say 90% of the time we are together, and we're talking to each other most of the time. We're solving problems with each other most of the time, and then we get to raise our families together and just stay with us and say, hey, we can do this together, and we can overcome whatever we go through, basically. So
what you're experiencing now and working together in this business, how is that going to help you to teach your kids what they should be doing when they're finally in those productive earning years? Right now, I mean, they're just a drain on you. Yeah, but they're going to be contributors one day.
Yes, I feel like they will. I actually take my kids with me a lot to our projects.
My wife used to do that too.
Oh,
Love
okay.
it. Love it.
Yeah, I actually enjoy it. I love taking care of my kids. When there's important matters, we do have, a daycare that we take them to. But I really enjoy taking my children and kind of showing them what's going on. And they see what we do now. And sometimes they'll ask us questions about the house. Every house to them is the broken house. That's what they always say, Mommy, the broken house. Are we here again at the broken house? But yeah, it's just been kind of wonderful taking my kids along with me, because I feel like they're learning a lot as well as we go and fix up these homes. And even sometimes after the flip is done, they're like, wow, Mommy, and they're really in awe of the changes that has been going on in these homes when I take them.
Oh, big time. How old are they now?
I have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 3-month.
Okay, all right.
So they may not be old enough quite yet to swing the hammer.
No.
I had this experience one time where my wife and I had gotten into a flip, and we had literally helped the family move out the night before. And so I had my kids in there on a Saturday morning, and we were starting to do some of the demo, right? So we were taking out all the carpet and all that stuff. And my daughter picks up this roll of carpet. She's about 9 years old. And she looks at me and goes, why is this carpet wet? It was because they had a bunch of animals. So I didn't tell her that until afterward. But just wait until your kids are old enough till they can really start to help out, because it will absolutely change their language. It will change the way they see opportunities, and it'll change the way that they see you, because they'll see you as really trying to create a better world, right? Really trying to create that safe, affordable, clean housing for more and more people, which is so needed in our world today. So I love it. And I love, as you guys are talking about your family, and I know that my youngest, she would go with my wife into all of the properties, and it made her so much more grateful when she came home. because she's just like, oh yeah, our house doesn't smell like some of these other places, and it's cleaner, and it's anyway. I love that you guys are getting your family involved. What kind of advice would you give to anybody else who's on the line with us right now who maybe isn't yet involved with Renatus? What would you tell them?
I really feel like the biggest thing is showing up. I really do feel like that's basically what we did, is we just showed up, we learned, and from what we saw and from who we met. And I think those are really important. That's like the most important first step is to come to showing up and meeting new people in the community. I think that will help others to understand what's true, and what what they feel is right for them. And I feel like that's how we were able to get to where we are today.
Right.
Yeah, for me, make the commitment. We are an example of that now, and a lot of the time I tell people all my contents are live. Like, this is me speaking an hour before I edit and then post it. I don't create them when I'm in the mood of something. This is me every single day. I show up every single day, and this is me. And to me, it's like, make the commitment now, because what we're doing is real. This is real life.
Yeah.
And if they want this experience, the commitment is the only thing that they need to do now.
Well, congratulations to you both, man. I'm absolutely thrilled. I love your story. I love your enthusiasm, your excitement. I can't wait to see where you are in 5 years. I can't wait to see where you are in another 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. I want that phone call, Jay, we just got number 100. And that will be a great day. I'm jacked.
And you know what? And it's those phone calls that really fuel our fire. I got a phone call from one of our guys last week, and he phoned up and he said, you know what, Bob, I just had to thank you. I haven't talked to him for a little while, so this was out of the blue, but I was thrilled to get his call. And he says, I just had to thank you, and I thank Renatus. He says, you transformed my life, changed everything. He said, I just sold a subdivision, and I've made more money on that deal than I've ever made in my entire life on a single transaction. And he's flipped a lot of houses. He's done a lot of transactions, so I know he's done really well. I can only imagine how much he profited off of that, but that's what fuels our fire. That's what really speaks to the contribution that we're making in the world, and you guys are obviously a testament to that. So congratulations. Thanks for being with us in the studio. This has been an outstanding exchange.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
And to hear a little bit about what you're doing and how you're doing it. I've got just a few announcements here, and then we're going to kind of wrap things up. And I just want to get into it. I want to make mention of this, is that there's a lot of individuals out there that they say, well, I like what I hear. You guys look like a fun bunch of folks. How can I hang out with you more? Probably the easiest way for you to do that is, of course, like and subscribe. But in addition to that, we've got a link and a QR code that's on the screen right now. Hey, listen, if you want to have a free 15-minute consultation with one of our investors, just so that you can learn a little bit more about us and see whether or not we might have something that could benefit you, well, there it is. Go schedule a time. And we invite you to do so. We'd love to have that conversation and kind of move forward with that. Also, for our community members, those individuals who own our education, you were referencing Bill a little bit ago, who was at the last E3 Summit. Well, Bill Predabon is going to be in the studio this Thursday, May 15th, because he's got a live, brand new class called From the Ground Up. Bill has mastered a strategy that he is just absolutely crushing it with right now, and he's got a full 7-hour class to teach on Thursday. He'll be in the studio to do that. Now, the next day, on Friday, we've got one of our own, another homegrown individual who came into this community as a student and now is crushing it, as a seasoned real estate investor, and we've made him an instructor, Umair Haq. Because what Umair has really leaned into is monetizing mobile home parks. And the numbers that he is being able to share with us are not just inspiring. Sometimes I'm in awe. I really am. The return on investment he's getting is huge. And he's got a good 7 or 8 hours of incredible content that he's going to be sharing Friday, May 16th. For those of you who own the Renatus Education, you're welcome to come into the studio and actually be a part of the studio audience. Or you can watch it at home, because we'll live stream it into your back office for those folks who want to participate in that fashion. But these are two powerful investors with amazing content that are going to be right here in studio this Thursday and Friday. Now, in addition to that, we got to let our community know that the corporate offices are going to be closed May 26th for Memorial Day. We hope that you guys will be able to enjoy that time with your family and in remembrance of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice to ensure our freedoms in this country. But put that on your calendar. And then another date to put on the calendar is the Fall E3 Renatus Summit. This is going to be such an incredible experience. It's October 23rd through the 25th in Salt Lake City, Utah. We're going to give you more details about that upcoming. But right now, save the date. You do not want to miss this. This is 3 powerful days of live in-person education and networking opportunities with folks from the Renatus community who come in from all over the country.
Can I just make a real quick comment there?
Please do.
I'm just dying. The E3 Summit, first of all, would you two say the E3 Summit that you attended earlier was worth it?
Definitely.
Man, it
We
was
found,
amazing.
yeah, definitely. We found what we needed, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was great.
So the last E3 Summit, we had 12 of our Renatus instructors who were there? I think 12 or 13.
Yes.
We already have more than that confirmed for this coming E3
Oh my
Summit.
goodness, man. It's going to be a barn burner.
It is going to be so I am so excited.
fantastic.
Bob and I sat and had a brainstorming session earlier today, just going over some of the layouts, some of the formats, some of the things that we're doing. And I will not reveal anything, but I will tell you that we are going to do a format of event that we've never done before, and we're going to include other ancillary gatherings that we've never done before. So I'm not going to go into more detail, but man, I am so excited.
I'm totally pumped as well because it's going to give a chance for individuals to really connect with people from all over the country, from all walks of life, who share one thing in common, and that is that they want to take and use real estate as their financial vehicle to not only take care of the bills of today, but also, the challenges of the future, and to be able to create something that they literally can pass on to the next generation. That's the beautiful thing about real estate, is you can create, that wonderful generational wealth. Now, that's upcoming.
Seating will be limited.
It absolutely will be limited. That's why I say you need to save the date. You need to pay attention because this is going to sell out.
And we're gonna open registration as soon as we possibly can. We've got a few more details that we need to iron out on our side. That's why Bob's giving you the dates right now so that you can block them off in your calendar so that you don't miss it. As soon as our registration opens up, we'll be sure to make that announcement just as loud as we possibly can to make sure that everybody who's paying attention gets their seats secured first.
Absolutely.
Because we don't want you to miss out.
And this is not an event that is just for the Renatus community. We're extending an invite for individuals who have not yet gotten involved with this.
Yeah.
So that they can come and participate and really experience this 3 days of hands-on real estate investment training.
Yeah.
So that's why I say pay attention, man. It's going to be such a great experience. Now, I'm going to have Aaron jump over to this slide real quick because we also are in the constant effort to improve our education and our details. Our classes are all transcribed and then double checked for accuracy into Spanish. They are also, we use AI and a number of different tools to put them into a number of different languages so that we've got that available to folks as well. So you'll hear them in English, but you can follow the
closed captioning in Russian and German and Danish, all sorts of
everything else. But Spanish we've really leaned into because we've got a lot of Spanish investors inside of our community. And we just finished the Spanish version of the Renatus course catalog, which is updated. It's in your back office with all of the education documents that we make available as well. Now, gone through a number of announcements, a lot of different things. Seta, Mary, it's been so fantastic to have you guys with us. I think what they shared with you really sums up this closing slide, and that is this. If home is where the heart is, shouldn't your business be there too? That's what Renatus is all about. Let's help you to transform your life, your world, and your real estate investing career. Come join us, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Renatus InvestEdge. We'll see you then.